Have you ever wondered what it truly means to make a difference in someone's life? What if the smallest, most unexpected act of kindness could change everything? Tonight, you're about to hear a story that will challenge everything you thought you knew about success and compassion. It's a story about a hard-working elderly woman, a CEO who's always been focused on her career, and how a chance encounter between them will forever alter the course of their lives. Stay tuned, because this is one story you won't want to miss. Before the story continues, let us know where you are watching from, and if you love such stories, subscribe to the channel because we will bring another special story tomorrow. Olivia Collins was a driven, self-made CEO in the fast-paced tech industry. At 38, she had built a thriving company from the ground up, but with that success came a constant whirlwind of meetings, phone calls, and deadlines. Her life, though filled with achievements, was a relentless cycle of work and minimal personal time. Every evening, after her long workdays, Olivia would stop by the same 24-hour cafe to grab a quick coffee or snack before heading home to an empty apartment. It was her small routine, a brief escape from the constant pressure of being at the top of her field. The cafe, a quiet spot in the heart of the city, had a timeless charm. The dim lighting, soft jazz playing in the background, and the hum of quiet conversations provided a rare moment of peace in Olivia's otherwise chaotic life. She wasn't one to linger in public spaces, preferring to keep to herself. But tonight something felt different. As she walked into the cafe, her attention was drawn to an elderly woman behind the counter. Olivia had seen her countless times before, but tonight, she couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to her than met the eye. Olivia sat at her usual spot near the window, sipping her coffee as the evening passed quietly by. The cafe was slowly emptying out, but her mind wandered, lost in the demands of her work. As the minutes ticked by, she found herself glancing over at the elderly woman behind the counter again. Her name was Gloria, or so Olivia had overheard one night. Gloria had worked here for as long as Olivia could remember, and she always seemed to be there, never missing a shift, always focused, always polite. Yet, Olivia had never really paid attention to her until now. Tonight, however, something felt different. Olivia noticed how Gloria's shoulders sagged slightly as she moved, her eyes carrying a tiredness that no amount of makeup could hide. As she wiped down the counters, her movements were slower than usual, as if the weight of the day was physically pressing her down. There was a certain exhaustion in the way Gloria carried herself, a weariness that went beyond just the hours of work. Olivia caught a glimpse of Gloria's hands trembling as she folded napkins and restocked supplies. It was as though she was putting every ounce of her energy into maintaining the same calm, collected demeanor she always had, despite the strain showing through. Olivia's gaze lingered on Gloria for a moment longer, then she turned her attention back to her laptop. But her mind kept returning to the elderly woman. As the minutes passed, Olivia couldn't shake the thought that something was wrong. Gloria had always seemed like just another worker in the background of Olivia's life, someone who was there but not noticed. Yet tonight, it felt as though the universe was drawing Olivia's attention to her. There was a deep sense of care and empathy inside Olivia that she had rarely acknowledged, especially when it came to those outside her immediate circle. When the clock struck midnight, Olivia saw Gloria finish up her shift. As usual, she grabbed her small bag, which seemed much more than just a bag of belongings. She looked around quickly before heading to the side door, making sure no one was watching her. Olivia, still watching from her seat, felt a pang of curiosity and concern. Gloria had never left like this before. Her steps were faster, more urgent, as if she had somewhere she needed to be. Olivia's heart skipped a beat as she realized she had been holding her breath, watching the woman disappear into the night. Without fully understanding why, Olivia stood up, paid for her coffee, and made her way out of the cafe. Her feet moved almost on their own as she stepped into the cool night air, her mind racing with questions. Why had Gloria seemed so hurried? Why was she walking so quickly, clutching that bag so tightly? Olivia found herself following her, keeping a distance, unsure of what she was doing, but unable to stop herself. It felt as if something was pushing her forward, a need to understand, a need to know. As she trailed behind Gloria down the quiet streets, Olivia's curiosity grew stronger. This wasn't just about following a stranger anymore, it was about uncovering a story she hadn't seen before. The city around them was quiet, the bright city lights dimming into the darkness of the side streets. Olivia kept her pace steady, careful not to draw attention, as she watched the older woman's every move. Olivia continued to follow Gloria down the shadowed streets, her footsteps barely audible against the quiet of the night. The city, once alive with the sounds of honking cars and the buzz of nightlife, had given way to a stillness that felt almost oppressive. The streetlights above flickered sporadically, casting long, eerie shadows on the pavement. Olivia felt the cool breeze brush against her face as she kept her distance from Gloria, her heart thudding in her chest. The further they went, the more unfamiliar the area became. The buildings around them grew older, their facades weathered by time. The neon signs and bustling stores were replaced by dark, vacant storefronts and alleyways. It was then that Olivia realized Gloria wasn't heading home. She wasn't going anywhere she had seen before. The streets grew narrower, quieter, and more desolate. The hum of traffic had faded into the distance, replaced by the rhythmic sound of Gloria's footsteps, echoing in the silence of the night. Olivia's curiosity intensified. Where was she going? Why was she walking so far from the city center, and why so late at night? As they moved deeper into the unfamiliar neighborhood, Olivia began to feel a growing sense of unease. She had followed Gloria for over 20 minutes now, and there was still no sign of her stopping. Gloria never glanced around for a bus or hailed a taxi. She simply kept walking, her small plastic bag clutched tightly against her chest. The urgency in her pace was undeniable. Olivia had seen many people walk alone at night, but this was different. There was something desperate in the way Gloria moved, something that told Olivia that the elderly woman was not just tired from work but weighed down by something much heavier. The streets around them had transformed completely. The sound of distant cars had faded, and the silence was now oppressive, filled only with the sound of Gloria's shoes tapping softly on the pavement. Olivia's breath caught in her throat as she realized that she had been following this woman, not out of curiosity alone, but because something deep inside her told her that this moment was important. Gloria's pace quickened again, and Olivia felt a rising sense of urgency in her chest. What was she walking toward? They reached a rundown block, where a few small houses stood, their paint chipped and windows boarded up. The streetlights here were dim, casting a soft glow that barely lit the way. Olivia's heart raced as Gloria stopped in front of a small, dilapidated trailer. It was nothing like the apartments Olivia was used to seeing in her high-rise world. The trailer was rusted in places, worn down by years of neglect. A single light flickered inside, and for a moment, Gloria stood in front of the trailer, looking up at it as though she was gathering strength. Olivia took a step closer, her body hidden in the shadows of a nearby building, careful not to alert Gloria to her presence. She watched as Gloria hesitated at the door, taking a deep breath before pushing it open and stepping inside. The door creaked as it swung open, revealing the small, dimly lit interior. Gloria disappeared inside, and the door slowly closed behind her with a soft click. Olivia stood frozen for a moment, her mind racing. She had followed Gloria all this way, and now she was left standing on the sidewalk, watching the dark trailer. Her heart ached as she realized that what she had just witnessed was something much bigger than she could have imagined. Gloria wasn't just walking home after a long shift, she was heading back to a life of struggle, a life that Olivia could hardly comprehend. The thought weighed heavily on her chest, and for the first time in her life, Olivia understood that some battles weren't fought in boardrooms or with money. They were fought in silence, behind closed doors, where no one could see. Olivia stood there for what felt like an eternity, staring at the faded trailer that now seemed like a symbol of everything she had never truly understood. She had always prided herself on being a woman of action, a leader who knew how to solve problems, whether it was in the boardroom or through philanthropy. But in that moment, Olivia realized that what she had just witnessed was far beyond her usual scope. Gloria's life, so quietly hidden behind the walls of that trailer, had opened Olivia's eyes to a reality she had never known. The image of Gloria stepping into the trailer, her shoulders stooped under the weight of years of hardship, was burned into Olivia's mind. For the first time, Olivia thought about what it must be like for someone like Gloria, someone who worked tirelessly every day, scraping by to provide for her family. The disparity between the life Olivia lived and the one Gloria was enduring was staggering. Gloria had been invisible to the world, and yet Olivia had walked past her countless times without a second thought. But now, there was a shift. Olivia could no longer ignore the realities that existed just beneath the surface of her polished, high-powered life. As the evening continued, Olivia sat in her car, her hands gripping the steering wheel, her mind racing. She thought about the conversation she had overheard in the cafe weeks ago about how Gloria had been working at the cafe for over 10 years, yet had never received a full-time status with benefits. Olivia's chest tightened with the realization that people like Gloria, the ones who worked tirelessly, without recognition, were often the ones who fell through the cracks. They were the backbone of the economy, keeping everything moving, yet were left to struggle on their own without the help they needed. The more Olivia thought about Gloria's life, the more she was filled with a sense of guilt and determination. She had spent so much of her career focused on growth, profit, and success, on building her empire. But had she ever truly seen the people who made that success possible? Had she ever stopped to think about the individuals who worked long hours in menial jobs, just trying to make ends meet? The answer was no. And now that Olivia had glimpsed the depth of Gloria's struggle, she couldn't just walk away. She had to act. Her mind was set, and she knew she couldn't undo what she had seen. She couldn't ignore the fact that someone like Gloria, someone so hardworking and selfless, was living in such dire conditions. Olivia thought of the children who depended on Gloria, how they were likely unaware of the sacrifices their grandmother was making every single day to ensure they had something to eat, something to look forward to. Olivia felt a surge of empathy and urgency. That night, as Olivia drove back to her apartment, the city lights blurred in her vision. She could no longer go back to the world she had known. Something had changed inside her, and she had to do something. She had to help Gloria, not with a quick fix, but with a real solution, something that would give her and her family the opportunity to live with dignity. Olivia knew the road ahead would not be easy, but she was ready to take it. The following day, Olivia couldn't shake the images from the night before. Gloria's tired eyes, the exhaustion etched in her every movement, and the small trailer where she had disappeared. Everything felt too real to ignore. It wasn't just about her individual struggles anymore. It was about an entire system that allowed people like Gloria to fall through the cracks. Olivia had always believed that wealth and success should be used for more than just personal gain. She had contributed to various causes in the past, but this was different. This was a real opportunity for change, not just for Gloria, but for the countless others who were invisible, working hard yet never recognized. By the time Olivia reached her office, her mind was already made up. This wasn't a problem that could be solved with a donation or a charity event. Gloria needed more. She needed stability, a home, and a life that didn't require her to work herself into the ground every day. Olivia needed to help her escape the cycle of exhaustion, and she knew she was in the position to do so. That afternoon, she spent hours on the phone, reaching out to trusted real estate agents, community organizers, and even local charities. She wasn't interested in something flashy, something that would garner public attention. No, this had to be something real, something that would make a lasting difference. She didn't want Gloria's family to feel like charity cases. She wanted them to feel like they belonged, like they had a chance at a new beginning. After an entire day of searching, Olivia found a small but charming house located in a quiet neighborhood. It wasn't grand, but it was more than enough, a safe, stable place for Gloria and her family. The house had a small garden out front, just enough room for the kids to play, and the neighborhood was peaceful, close to schools, and free from the hardships that had defined Gloria's life so far. Olivia immediately made the arrangements. She contacted the realtor, set up the necessary paperwork, and made sure that everything would be covered, including utilities and the mortgage. She didn't want Gloria to have to worry about anything. The plan was simple: provide her with a home, give her the opportunity to breathe, and let her know that she wasn't alone in this world. As she finalized the details, Olivia couldn't help but feel a sense of pride, but it was different from the satisfaction of a successful business deal. This was something far more personal, something that went beyond the corporate world. It was a chance to change someone's life, to offer a real opportunity for a better future. That evening, Olivia drove to the cafe, her heart pounding in her chest. She knew what she was about to do could change everything for Gloria. She wasn't sure how Gloria would react, but Olivia was determined to help, no matter the outcome. As she parked outside, Olivia took a deep breath, stepped out of her car, and walked into the cafe. Tonight was the night she would offer Gloria the opportunity she so richly deserved. Olivia stepped into the cafe with a sense of quiet determination, her mind focused and clear. The familiar hum of the coffee machines and soft murmurs of the remaining customers were comforting in their usualness. But tonight, everything felt different. As she glanced around, she spotted Gloria, just finishing up her shift behind the counter. She moved slower than usual, her face weary, but there was a certain calmness in the way she worked, as though she had become accustomed to this routine, this exhaustion. Olivia took a deep breath. She had made a decision, and now it was time to act on it. This wasn't just a gesture of charity, this was a chance to change someone's life. Olivia had spent years building her company, climbing to the top, but today she realized that the true measure of her success wasn't in her bank account or her title. It was in the impact she had on others, the legacy she would leave behind. As Gloria finished closing up, Olivia approached her, her heart pounding in her chest. She didn't know how Gloria would react. How could anyone respond to an offer like the one she was about to make? But Olivia knew that she couldn't just stand by and do nothing. She had to try. As Gloria turned around, Olivia gave her a soft smile, one that was both comforting and sincere. "Good evening, Gloria," Olivia said, her voice calm but filled with warmth. Gloria blinked in surprise, her tired eyes momentarily widening. "Oh, good evening, Miss Collins. I didn't expect to see you here tonight." Olivia nodded and smiled. "I just wanted to take a moment to talk with you, if that's okay." Gloria looked a bit uncertain, but she nodded and leaned against the counter. "Of course. What's on your mind?" For a moment, Olivia hesitated, unsure of the right words to use. But she knew she needed to speak from the heart. "I've been thinking a lot about you, Gloria," she said quietly. "About everything you've been through, and how hard you work every single day. I want you to know that I see you. I see how much you sacrifice." Gloria's expression softened, but there was a hint of sadness in her eyes. "I do what I have to do," she replied, her voice tinged with resignation. "It's all I can do." Olivia felt a pang of sympathy. She had seen the quiet sacrifices that people like Gloria made every day, but it wasn't until now that she truly understood the toll it took. "Gloria," Olivia said, her voice firm but kind, "I've found a place for you. A real home. It's yours if you'll take it." Gloria stared at her, confusion and disbelief crossing her face. "A home? What do you mean?" "I've arranged for a small house in a safe neighborhood," Olivia explained. "It's not much, but it's a fresh start. You don't have to keep struggling like this. You and your grandchildren deserve better than this." The words hung in the air between them. For a long moment, Gloria said nothing. Her hands trembled as she gripped the counter, her lips parted in shock. Olivia could see the emotions building in Gloria's eyes, the disbelief, the hope, and the fear of something she hadn't allowed herself to believe in for so long, the possibility of a life beyond survival. Finally, Gloria spoke, her voice barely a whisper. "I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything," Olivia replied, her tone gentle. "I just want you to have a chance at something better. A place where you don't have to fight to make ends meet every day." As Olivia watched Gloria's eyes fill with tears, she realized that this wasn't just a gift, it was a lifeline. It was the chance to break free from the cycle of hardship that had defined Gloria's life for so long. And in that moment, Olivia realized something about herself too. This was what mattered. Not the endless meetings or the corporate achievements, but the ability to make a real difference in someone's life. This was where true success lay. The next few days were a whirlwind for Gloria. At first, she was hesitant, unsure if Olivia's offer was too good to be true. She had spent so many years in survival mode that the idea of something better, something permanent, was almost foreign to her. But Olivia was patient, returning to the cafe regularly to reassure her, to answer her questions, and to show her that this was not some fleeting act of kindness but a genuine opportunity for change. Olivia took Gloria to visit the house a few days later. The moment they stepped inside, Gloria's breath caught in her throat. The walls were painted in warm, welcoming colors, and the space, though modest, was filled with light and warmth. The children ran through the rooms, laughing and jumping on the beds, their faces lighting up in disbelief. For the first time in a long time, Gloria saw the joy in their eyes, something she hadn't seen in a while, not since the days when she had been able to provide for them without constant worry. Gloria stood at the doorway, hands over her chest, a soft gasp escaping her lips as she took in her new home. She turned to Olivia, her eyes red from the tears that had been threatening to spill ever since they entered. "I don't know how to thank you," she whispered, her voice breaking with emotion. This is too much. I never thought something like this could happen." Olivia smiled, a soft, knowing smile. "You don't have to thank me, Gloria," she said, her voice full of compassion. "This is your new beginning. A chance to breathe, to live without the constant fear of what tomorrow will bring." The children's laughter echoed through the house, their joy filling the space with a life that Gloria had longed for but never believed could be hers. It was a bittersweet moment, one of deep gratitude, but also a moment of realization for Olivia. She had always measured success by numbers and achievements, but in this moment, she understood that real success was in the lives she touched, the differences she made, and the relationships she built. It was in moments like this, when people's lives were changed, when burdens were lifted, that true fulfillment could be found. As Olivia walked through the house with Gloria and her grandchildren, she couldn't help but think back to her own journey, the sacrifices she had made to reach where she was today, the moments when she had felt alone in her pursuit of success. But now, she realized, those sacrifices had led her to this moment. By helping someone else, she had found a purpose that transcended anything she had ever achieved in her career. And that, she knew, was the most rewarding accomplishment of all. Gloria, now standing in her new home with a hopeful smile, was no longer a woman struggling to make ends meet. She was a woman who had been given the chance to live a life of dignity, to provide for her family without constant fear. And as she looked at Olivia, she finally saw something she had not allowed herself to believe in for years: hope. As Olivia left the house that evening, she felt a profound sense of peace settle over her. The road ahead for Gloria and her family would not be without challenges, but they now had the opportunity to face them together, in a home filled with love and promise. Olivia knew she had made the right choice. This was the kind of change that mattered. This was the kind of legacy she wanted to leave behind, one of compassion, understanding, and real, lasting difference. The story of Gloria and Olivia teaches us that real success is not about accumulating wealth or status. It's about the impact we have on the lives of others. Olivia's transformation came not from a business deal or a high-profile success, but from the simple act of seeing another person struggle and choosing to act. She learned that while she had always been focused on climbing the ladder of success, the true meaning of achievement came when she was able to uplift someone else. In helping Gloria and her family, Olivia discovered that the most rewarding moments in life are often those where we give without expecting anything in return, those moments that create lasting change in the lives of others. In our own lives, we often become so focused on our personal success that we forget to look around us. By being more attuned to the struggles of those around us, we can help create real change. Whether it's a colleague, a neighbor, or even a stranger, reaching out and offering support can make a significant difference. We don't need to wait for a grand opportunity to give back. The small, everyday acts of kindness and understanding can ripple out and create a wave of positive change.